Welcome to the Equinety Podcast, where horse owners just like you share their incredible Equinety stories and how Equinety is changing their horses' lives. Whether you're searching for something to give your performance horse better focus, faster recovery, and more stamina, or in the extreme case where all hope seems lost, give your horse what it needs to help heal at a cellular level, you'll find it here. So jump in on today's episode to hear how Equinety is helping horses worldwide. Now, welcome your host, John Dowdy.
Hello and welcome to this week's Equinety Podcast. We're swinging out into the big state of Texas. We've got Connie Burleson on the podcast this week. Connie, welcome to the Equinety Podcast.
Hello.
Hi, great to have you on, and I appreciate you taking the time. This, for those of you tuning in, this is another great story of working in combination with a vet and a farrier and adding the old magic Equinety Horse Excel, how we've sped up the repairing process. So before we get into that, let's talk about your horse and what you were dealing with, and then how you found our Equinety product and what's happening today. But let's start in the beginning.
Okay. I have a horse. I've had him 17 years. For several years now, he's been out on about 40 acres of pasture with some other horses grazing. And he had some issues. We thought it was shoulder issues. He got down last year and almost died, but bounced back somehow. He made it. And it took a long, long time. It took months for him to gain some weight back. I recently had found out, though, that he has lost weight. My guy didn't tell me he was losing weight again. And he had been having trouble for about 6 weeks without me being told. When I found out about it, I discussed with someone else I know. I can't live with them. So I found someone else that's a friend who said she'd take him in. And she has 1 acre lot that we decided to put him on because the pasture land was just too much for him to eat enough. So she contacted them. We moved him right after the 4th of July. And she contacted her vet, sent him a picture of him. He had lost quite a bit of weight. He was down, his hip bone showing really bad, his backbone showing really bad, his ribs, he's really underweight. And the vet said put him on alfalfa and Purina Senior. So we did. A farrier assignment a couple of weeks and found out that he was limping really bad. And the farrier said his limp was from bad thrush in his front feet, hooves, and he had 2 blowouts in his front hooves from abscesses. And he worked on those. He told my friend to doctor the thrush every day, and she did. So we got the thrush gone. Got shoes on his front feet. He had to repair one front foot and cut out the hoof and fill it to get him walking on it. And then I found out about Equinety. He's on Equinety for a month now.
Now, before you get into that, how did you come across the Equinety? Well, I mean, were you doing some research? Did it just pop up on you?
It popped up on Facebook. I was a little bit skeptical, I'm going to admit, because it was Facebook.
Yeah, now come on. You were a lot skeptical, weren't you?
Yeah, I was. I've been scammed on Facebook before. So,
haven't we all?
Yeah. But thank goodness I called you. I decided to call the company about it.
Mm-hmm.
And when I spoke to you and you told me that they sold it at a tack and feed store in Weatherford, Texas, I said, which is not far from me, because I'm in the Fort Worth area, I said it has to be something to it. It's legit. It's not a scam, so I'm going to try it. And I ordered it that day and put him on it. So he's been on it a month.
How quickly did you begin seeing results when you started?
Within 2 weeks. His feet, he seemed to have a little less limp, but the vet actually saw him. And the vet had not seen him from the beginning pictures. And when the vet saw him, at about the 2 week mark, he couldn't believe it was the horse he had seen the picture of. He was shocked at how much he was already putting some weight on and improving.
Yeah, because with your vet, you just sent him some pictures initially, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And then 2 weeks later, he comes out and actually sees the horse?
Yes. And he remarked several times about how good he was looking, that he did not expect him to look that well. So I just knew then we were onto something right.
Yeah.
Because he was changing real quick. Also, the farrier came out, who's been seeing him every 2 weeks. And when he came out this last visit, which was last weekend, he also noticed a remarkable difference in the 2 weeks since he had seen him. And his feet, his hoof had grown quite a bit. And he thought that was amazing. And he also had a secondary farrier come out with him because he's a bad boy when he was getting his feet done. They had to medicate him a little bit to get him to calm down. And he was shocked at how he looked because he had shown him pictures of him. He didn't think he would be that way.
Wow.
And then my friend, she bathed him the other Sunday and sent me pictures. And I've been telling her since he got there, he's a black horse. So he has been a light sandy red color almost all over since he got there. His coat was really bad. And she couldn't believe he was a black horse. He's now black. He's black again.
And this is in 30 days.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. He's very black now.
Yeah.
He's getting to be my good old boy now.
Right. Now, I'll jump in here. So for those tuning in for the first time, and maybe you're just learning about this Equinety product, we're specifically talking about Equinety Horse Excel, which is 100% pure amino acids. There's no fillers, sugars, or starches. And the amino acids are specifically formulated to stimulate the pituitary gland, which is the master gland in the body. And that's what releases the necessary hormones, which the body then sends to the problem areas. So in this case, we're talking about abscesses, thrush, lack of nutrition. So it really helped put the weight back on. Now, what's interesting about this product, it doesn't fall into the category as a weight gain product. It's not a hoof product. It's not a joint product. It's not a shiny coat or healthy coat product. It's a product specifically formulated to give the body what it needs so the body can help repair itself wherever those things need to happen. So let me ask you this question, Connie. If we recap what happened, your horse was out on 40 acres thereabout for quite a while. It went down, lost a bunch of weight. You're thinking it was a shoulder issue. The horse bounces back from that, and then it happens again. And so then you decide to bring the horse into a more manageable area. So you put him on 1 acre so you could get him nourished back to health.
Yeah.
So, but then you're finding out, well, it wasn't the shoulder, it was abscesses, some thrush, not to mention the malnutrition because it couldn't graze. Do you feel that the horse would have bounced back without the Equinety in a 30-day period, or do you feel that adding the product really helps speed everything up?
Oh no, I don't think he would have bounced back this well at all. The Equinety product I think totally contributed to it because and like you're saying, it's pinpointed numerous things in him. In fact, I didn't even mention the fact that the farrier thought at first he might be foundering. Mm-hmm. Had the beginnings of that happening.
Right.
And those front, feet and legs, and he didn't see that the next time he saw him after he was on the Equinety.
Yeah, because a lot of feedback that we receive is with foundered horses and how this product really helps thicken the soles. And all the way around helps promote faster, healthier hoof growth, which gives the farrier more to work with in a shorter amount of time. So we hear that very, very often. And also based on your 30-day transformation, and you sent me these pictures, and I didn't even think it was the same horse, but from a dull, sandy red kind of a coat to now black, all within 30 days, it's like, how is that even possible? But we see this all the time. But it also goes to show you that, what this product is doing is giving the horse what it needs to help repair from the inside out. So typically within a 30-day period, a lot of people do notice a softer, shinier coat. They're filling out, helps with top line. And of course, you really begin seeing the healthier hoof growth within the 30-day mark, typically more towards a 6-week mark, but you'll start noticing some hoof changes within 30 days, which is what your farrier is noticing.
Right. Well, and my vet summed it up. He couldn't believe he was seeing the same horse either. And that's from, a veterinarian. So.
Right. Yep. And they see a lot.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I tell you what, if there's anybody tuning in that might be on the fence, or they may have seen our ads, which we run a lot of ads on Facebook, and they might be even more skeptical than you, which might be hard to believe.
Yeah, I was pretty skeptical.
Well, is there anything that you could tell them to maybe get them off the fence that you haven't already talked about? Just letting them know to, if they're dealing with it.
I say buy it. It's not an expensive product. You average it out. It lasted what? It's going to last you about 3 months.
Yeah, it's $1 a day.
It's not expensive to try, and it's sure not going to hurt. My vet read the ingredients. He said it was, he said use it. And I have seen such changes. Some were minor at the very beginning, but you could see them in 2 weeks. And now it's the 4-week mark. I'm really seeing the changes, and I'm going to keep him on it. I say buy it. Don't worry about it not being a good product, because it is.
Yeah, that's awesome. And this is one of the reasons why we do this podcast, because it gives a perspective from people around the country and different scenarios that they're dealing with. And a lot of times people have tried so many other things that didn't work, or worked for a little while and then stopped working. And some of the extreme cases where, they were potentially having to look at, making that final decision for their horse, and now they're riding their horse again. So, I tell people all the time, this is not a miracle supplement, but it sure has done some miraculous things.
Well, it's not, how do I put it? It's difficult to see your horse or animal suffer. Mm-hmm. And he was definitely suffering. His limping was bad. He was walking so slow and moving so slow. The second time the farrier saw him and slapped him on the butt and turned him loose, he ran. And that's the first time we've seen him run. And to see him not suffering and this contributing to that factor, like I said, I'll be keeping him on it. It's a good, I believe in the product.
Yeah, that's great. Awesome. Well, Connie Burleson out of Texas, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to share your story here on the Equinety Podcast.
You're welcome. I appreciate you inviting me.
That's all for this episode of the Equinety Podcast. For more information on purchasing Equinety, be sure to visit our website at teamequinety.com, where you'll also find product information as well as more testimonials on how others have seen amazing results by implementing Equinety into their horse's supplement regime. We'll have more stories on how Equinety is helping horses worldwide right here on a future episode of the Equinety Podcast.